Hello, cinefans. I'm Kendall Kruver, and this is Watching Classic Movies. One of the best decisions I ever made was to attend the TCM Classic Film Festival, and there are thousands of movie fans who feel the same way. I've gone for several years, and I have to say this one-of-a-kind event is as much about the community it draws as it is its films, panels, guests, and welcoming TCM hosts. I've spent many hours at the festival with my guest, Aurora Bugallo, who writes the Once Upon a Screen blog and who is active in social media as Citizen Screen, and Karen Burroughs Hannsberry, who writes the Shadows and Satin blog, is editor of the bi-monthly film noir publication The Dark Pages newsletter, and is author of Film Noir, Bad Girls of Film, and Bad Boys, the Actors of Film Noir. We had a lot of laughs and even got a bit emotional, reminiscing about the many ways our days together in Hollywood were memorable, heartwarming, and even life-changing. Welcome, Karen and Aurora. It is so great to have you two on the show today.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to get back into the podcast again with friends because some of the best conversations are just movie geeks talking together. And I wanted to do an episode about TCM Classic Film Festival because that's how I have connected with so many people who love classic movies. And, you know, we were just talking about how we met on Twitter and kind of checked out each other's blogs and then just had that unreal experience of, wait, almost like seeing a celebrity. Oh, you see them at the festival and you talk to them and everything. So I figured out last night that I have been to the festival 7 times. So Aurora, how many times have you been?
I think I missed the first 2, so it's been 14, although I don't really have a lot of memories of my first one. But yeah, it's been 13 or 14 for sure.
And Karen, how many years do you know?
My first one was in 2013.
Oh.
And so that would be 13 technically counting the 2 virtual ones.
Right. Wow. You guys
But
are
yeah.
You guys are the hardcore fest people.
Well, the hardcore are the ones that have been there, all 16 years. And there are many people who have been all 16 years.
Yes, and I actually have met some of those people. So I don't even know how to begin with this in some respects, but I know that part of the reason I made sure that I came, even with, my toddlers at home and everything, was the guests. And, sadly that's changed a bit. Like there are people who have passed since, and then the type of guest has changed. But I wanted to know what guests you found memorable. Karen, what kind of stands out to you as something that just got you as being a remarkable experience?
There's so many, but one of the first that always comes to my mind was the screening for Lenny, and it was an interview with Dustin Hoffman and Alec Baldwin before the movie. And they were just so funny. And the main thing that I remember, in fact, one of the only things I remember specifically from the interview is when Dustin Hoffman started doing this imitation of Buddy Hackett and telling these jokes in Buddy Hackett's voice. And you can go to YouTube and see it. And I watched it again last night. It still just cracks me up because first of all, it's a good imitation. Secondly, the things he's saying is so wild. You can't believe that he's saying this, but it's just so great. And then Alec Baldwin even did his own Buddy Hackett. It was like, the Battling Buddies or something. But it was just such a joy to see them. And it was, this camaraderie among all of us, like we're all in this big society together. And it was just great. And then the movie, which I had never seen before. So that was awesome. But the 2 of them doing this Buddy Hackett was priceless.
It's funny how you see the celebrity but they're so different up close like that. And you don't realize how intimate that experience is going to be until you get in the theater with these people. So, Aurora, who stands out for you?
Like Karen, there are many. I was having my coffee this morning trying to, because that's the preparation I did. I was going through my memory banks. But the one that always comes to the top is Maureen O'Hara. I was about 2 feet away from Maureen O'Hara in the Roosevelt lobby when they used to have those interviews, and Robert Osborne was interviewing her. Of course, she was older. Her grandson, I believe, was helping her on the stage and off the stage. And one thing I remember, it was magic. Right, this woman who I've loved in so many movies and has been in so many great movies. And Robert kept asking her about working with John Ford, and she would always answer with Charles Laughton. She was just thanking Charles Laughton and so admiring of Charles Laughton. And of course, Laughton gave her start. But that was a magical, magical day. And that same festival, she was there to introduce How Green Was My Valley, which is one of my favorite movies, also with Robert. So, yeah, that one stands at the top.
I was at the How Green Was My Valley screening as well, and that is actually my choice too, because she was in that wheelchair, and at the end she was trying to stand up for
Yes.
everyone because she was so moved. And I also remember somebody in the audience sneezed and she stopped and said, "God
Yes,
bless you." Like,
that's right.
and I just kept thinking, Maureen O'Hara is doing this. She's doing this like in front of me. Like I
Yes,
couldn't
yes,
believe somebody who
yes.
was that aligned with the pure classic era.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that screening was in El Capitan, which was a rarity because they usually just put the Disney movies there. But just wonderful that the crowd was adoring as it should be, and yes, she was wonderful, and
Yeah.
Robert, of course.
Oh, yeah. The thing that struck me about Robert Osborne, seeing him for the first time in the press conference in 2014, and I think that was the only year that I saw him, so that was quite lucky, was that I was not starstruck. He was just like this friendly uncle
Yes,
showing up.
yeah.
Like somebody you already
He made you
knew.
feel like you were
Right.
the only one in the room when he
Yeah.
spoke.
Yeah. It was both those things that everybody's important. But yeah, Karen, I felt like it was just some guy I'd seen last week.
I just, I don't know if this was my first year or the second year, but they had Robert at the closing night party in the party, and you could, get in line and get a picture with him. And I, of course, was in line, and they literally were cutting the line off right in front of me. I would have been the next person. And, and I don't know what I said or how I looked, but he was like, we'll just do one more. And he took a picture with me. And I just treasure that so much. And it was just so nice of him. And like you said, I didn't feel any kind of way like, oh, it's Robert, It was
Yeah.
just like, thanks, Robert.
Yeah,
You're the greatest.
Yeah. I mean, I remember he kissed, our friend Laura on the head.
yeah.
Just, I was in that line way in the back and missed my big chance. So it's so beautiful to hear that you snuck in and why. And then that's really what it was about him that was so beautiful. And I feel like I see the hosts, that they had such shoes to fill.
Yeah.
They have all these hosts now basically filling in but I feel like they, with their generosity, with their time, do try to embody how he was.
And they
They,
do a great job. I think they do a
yeah,
wonderful job.
I think so too. And they're very approachable.
yeah,
They never make you feel at the festival, no matter how many people say hello and take a picture, it never feels like an inconvenience to
no,
them. Just really nice people, aside from loving what they do, they're really nice people.
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember the first time I met Alicia Malone, and I couldn't believe that beyond just saying hi, thanks for coming, have a good festival, she continued to talk to me. I was like, wow, she's having a conversation. Like she wants to hear what I have to say, and she likes me. It
yeah,
was
Yeah,
just so awesome. I just, like you said, Aurora, they all are so approachable, and who knows how they really feel. I'm sure they're exhausted, but
oh
they
sure.
never ever make you feel like
Yeah.
you're an inconvenience or I have somewhere else to be or, anything like that. It's just such a wonderful experience with them.
Yeah. Yeah, just
yeah.
to give you a really quick example, I think it was last year in 2024. I was at the media reception and I had taken a picture with four of the five hosts, and I was missing Jacqueline Stewart. So I look over and she's at this little table talking with Ben Mankiewicz. So I got up my nerve and I went over and I said, Professor Stewart, you're the only picture I'm missing, so if you don't mind. And took my phone. He says, I'll take it. So he took my phone and actually turned it around and took a selfie of himself. So that's the kind of thing. And of course,
Yeah.
later he took the picture of Professor Stewart and myself. But that's the kind of thing. Very down to earth, very approachable, very friendly, funny. So
Yeah.
so it's really great.
I've got a great story about Ben Mankiewicz. I had been on a promo on TCM and my name was on there and I guess I must have had my hometown or something because a lady in a town about an hour away from me, figured out how to get a letter to me. She's in her 80s. She
Oh,
remembered going to the Hollywood Roosevelt when she was 9 and asking Cary Grant for his autograph, and he said no, so she called him Grumpy Grant. And all
oh.
these stories, right? Her family owned a movie theater in their town. And she just said, "Can you get a letter to Ben Mankiewicz?" Because she thought she figured out
Right.
that I had a press pass, and she thought I was like besties with Ben Mankiewicz. I'm like, oh, but and just I wanted to let him know this bit of trivia about something, and I was like, oh well, I don't know, I'll see what I can do. I can bring something to the next festival, and hey, you seem really interesting. Want to be pen pals? So we have been friends now for 6 or 7 years. We've been pen pals all this time,
Yeah.
and she can't really see anymore, so she'll call and leave messages because I never, I never am aware of my phone ringing. So we're still in touch. But the thing that got me was that I did go to the press conference and ask Ben for a photo, and I was holding up something that said "Hi, Angela," and a lot of I don't know if I had got both of you, but I had a lot of people hold up signs that said "Hi, Angela," and I she eventually made a photo album with all of this. Well, told the story to him, and he's like, "Oh, well, do you have her phone number?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna take it down. Don't tell her about it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it, but I will try to call her." So he did.
Oh,
And she was thrilled. Crush. Oh my gosh. She was thrilled. The next year, I said, "Hey, by the way, thank you for calling my pen pal. I gave you her phone number last year." And I explained it to him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, her. She thought I was lying. She didn't think it was me." It took a while. And like every time I saw him after that, I kept trying to impart to him how much that meant to this lady. And he would kind of act like I was crazy because it made him so uncomfortable, I think. I don't know, just like, okay, all right. Like
yeah.
he's so humble and it was
Yeah.
so kind. And I still feel like I haven't really been able to tell him, like, I'm trying to say, you're a really great guy.
He is. Yeah.
You do a lot for people. And I just think that in a nutshell explains, how like he took the time out for no reason but kindness. So yeah, yeah, it's great. So, we were talking about the theaters. I mean, are there theaters that you feel especially connected to? Because there's some gorgeous ones that those festivals have been in.
Yeah. I mean, I think anything you watch at the TCL Chinese, which some of us still refer to as Grauman's because
Right.
we like history. But anything you see there feels important. It feels meaningful because of the history of the place. And I think maybe the people that are local don't feel that way, but I mean, every year when I get there and I see that facade and from the forecourt, it's just magical. So I have several memories, but I'll let Karen talk about her favorite theater.
Oh, it's definitely Grauman's.
Yeah.
Just standing in line in the forecourt and the lions out front and going down to the lounge, which feels like stepping back in
Yeah.
time
Yes.
and sitting in your seat and looking up at the ceiling and every year trying to get that perfect shot. And it's just being there, just walking through the doors. I feel like something comes over me.
Yeah.
It just is such a great, great place. And every year I haven't been at a screening there, but most years I have. And I'm always so glad when I know that I'm going to be seeing at least one movie there.
Yeah.
That's so perfect the way you described it, the kind of something coming over you.
Yeah.
There's this movie Radio Days where they walk into the theater and the song, "If this is but a dream, I hope I never wake up."
Yes.
I feel like that happens to me every time I walk in there. It's just this magical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically same, guys.
Yeah, yeah, it's magical. I will give a shout out to the Egyptian though. They did a wonderful job with the restoration, but the old version of the Egyptian and the section that was up front, which had these recliner type chairs that you can sort of lie down and watch this big huge screen. I loved sitting there. I loved watching movies there. Mildred Pierce with Anne Blythe introducing it with Robert also. I mean, just magic. There's a lot of magic moments, that happen at this festival. So, but I do
Yeah.
love the Egyptian as well. I wanted to give it a shout out.
For sure.
Yeah. I loved sitting on those planters out front, and I'm
Yeah,
sentimental with that. I haven't been back since it's been remodeled, so I've heard raves though. People seem to be
it's
pretty
beautiful. Yeah,
happy with it. Yeah.
yeah.
Have you seen the remodel Karen, of the
Oh,
did
for
you?
sure.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
definitely
Okay.
did a
So
great job. I know that people were very apprehensive
yeah,
about what it was going to be like. And I remember when it was still under construction and peeking through the little slats of wood and oh Lord, what's going to happen?
yeah.
But they did a great job and they took a few
Yeah.
things away out of the forecourt of I guess it's called the forecourt. But overall, I was delighted with what they did because if for no other reason, because you thought it was going to be a disaster. So
Hmm.
but it
Yeah.
was just really exceeded any expectations I have, and I'm very pleased to be in there as well, like Aurora.
Yeah.
It's good to hear. We're a fan base not known for being good with change.
Right. That's right. That's right. I can share one of my, I was thinking of a memory when the audience was especially, just outstanding, which really happens at every movie in this festival because we're all there for the same reason and love these movies. But I remember, I want to say it was the official closing night movie in 2013. It was Buster Keaton's The General. Robert Osborne introduced the movie and introduced the Alloy Orchestra, which was accompanying the movie. But at the end of his introduction, he says to the crowd to make sure they take a few moments to take in this theater because it was closing after that festival for renovations. So the movie plays, the orchestra does its thing, a huge ovation at the end, as you can expect. But all of a sudden, after the ovation, the packed house, and I mean, there was not one seat empty. There was total silence. Everyone is standing, just looking up and around at every nook and cranny of the place. And I swear I get emotional thinking about it now.
Yeah.
It may have been just a couple of minutes, but it felt like forever. Everyone there just breathing it in, like Robert said to do. It was just such, a moment that I don't think I'll ever forget in my life. And of course, the renovation, the Chinese looks gorgeous. They did a fantastic job, but on that day, no one knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Were we going to lose, this great place? But no, it's gorgeous still, but that was special.
Yeah, I am well aware of how fortunate we are to be able to be in these theaters and that they are so well cared for. There's also just that feeling of certain memories make a theater more special. Like my first time going to the Hollywood Legion was for the panel for Cooley High. That was the first panel I attended after being away from the COVID closures. And my eyes were just burning the whole time. I was so overwhelmed and moved and just it's like this is one of my favorite directors, these are these characters that like I remember seeing that movie on TV when I was little, just
Yeah.
all of it together. It's like the theater becomes a character in the play as well.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So panels, okay, some of them can be outrageously good. That was one of them. That was probably one of the best because they did their chemistry and just there was people being hilarious and yeah. What panels stand out to you guys as being kind of amazing?
Well, one of those for me was Cooley High. I was there too.
Yeah.
When they announced that Cooley High was going to be screening and they all of these cast members was going to be there, that was the one screening. When people ask you every year what you're looking most forward to, that was always the first thing I said. And I was just so excited about it. And my older daughter, Veronica, goes with me now. So I was excited for her to see the movie. And I wanted to be first in line. I was actually number 8. But when we were
Wow.
we were standing there and Lawrence Hilton Jacobs gets out and he started coming down the line, just saying hi to people. And when he got to me, first of all, I asked him for a hug. Then I asked him for a picture. And I just couldn't believe this had happened, that I was so excited to see this movie. And this happened. And after he went on and went into the theater, I started telling somebody in line near me about how excited I was. And I just started crying. I was like, I can't believe this happened. And then the panel itself, oh boy. And I was very close. I think I was maybe in the third row. And they were all right there, Garrett Morris and Glenn Turman. And when they found the actress who played, I can't even think of her name, but she had been off the radar forever, and they found her, and it was just, and the director, Michael Schultz, it was just so awesome. It was an awesome an awesome experience from beginning to end. And my daughter loved it. She was crying at the end. It was
Yeah.
just, just everything I would have wanted. And I also wanted to, I wanted to mention another screening was for 1776. I don't know if you all know this about me, but I'm not the biggest musicals fan. But 1776 is one of my favorites. And when I was in elementary school, we went on a field trip and went to see the movie. And I've loved it ever since. I have the soundtrack. I have it on DVD and VHS. And when they announced that and that Ken Howard and William Daniels were going to be there, I knew I wanted to go. And it just happened to be at the same time as Malcolm X with Spike Lee,
Oh
who
my
I have been a
gosh.
fan of since his very first movie, She's Gotta Have It. And so it was one of those horrible, conflicts, but I eventually, ended up going to see 1776. And fortunately, it wasn't packed. So I was able to sit, I was like in the second row. There weren't a lot of people around me, so I was able to sing through the whole movie and not bother anybody. And Ken Howard was celebrating a birthday. They gave him a cake, and he actually passed not too long after that. So it was just like I'm so glad that I got a chance to see them, and seeing William Daniels, who's still with us. It was just an amazing experience.
The movies you see as a kid are the ones that win every time.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
They just stick
Yeah,
with you.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Are there any panels that you remember, Aurora?
The one that sticks out right now, and it was a few years back, it was a discussion in Club TCM about, how we should watch movies and actors, etc., with topics like racism in there and sort of tackling that sort of thing. And the primary discussion was on Gone with the Wind, and obviously the slavery in the movie and the fact that it's considered a great movie. I don't remember everybody on the panel, but Ben Mankiewicz, Jacqueline Stewart, and Donald Bogle, who I adore. He's just fantastic. I've read every one of his books. His introductions too at the festival are among my favorites. That panel, a lot of important things were said, a lot of things to think about. I think even at the end of it, I overheard other attendees saying that they should do that again because, of course, the discussion can go on forever and ever. The bottom line, of course, everyone agreed that regardless of the issue or the problem, that the movie should be seen, that the movie should be shown, and that you just have to be cognizant that they were of a time and a place, where unfortunately those things were commonplace. But it was a great panel, one of my favorites through the years. And I'll just give a shout out to the Sophia Loren interview. That was legendary. I adored being there, and her admitting that she was in love with Cary Grant was something I'll never forget.
Yeah, the things that come out in the interviews, like,
Yes.
did Shirley
Yeah.
MacLaine just say she slept with Jack Lemmon?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm remembering the Nashville panel. That
Mm.
was actually very memorable too, because I just never felt star power like that in my life. The electricity in the room and everybody looking at Jeff Goldblum there. And he knew it and he could handle it. He could handle all of that. I mean, there was like bodyguards, I guess. It just felt like there was a lot of people just waiting in anticipation of something, either to protect him or to watch him or whatever. And it almost seemed like a shame to me because there's this great screenwriter there. I love Ronnie Blakely, and then I just kind of scanned the room and I turned and I looked and I was like, oh, Keith Carradine has aged quite well. So I actually ended up crushing out on him for most of the panel.
Yeah.
Like he's looking good.
Yeah, he does.
Can I
This is
just say one more thing?
yeah.
Aurora reminded me of Club TCM, and I haven't gone to as many in recent years as I used to, but one of the ones that I went to several years ago was called The Surreal Life, and it had the people who had had their lives made into a movie. So they had Aaron Ralston, the guy from 127 Hours, who cut off part of his arm so he could extricate himself from the boulder he got trapped in, and Tony Mendez, who had the movie Argo made about him, and then Mark Schultz, whose brother David was shot and killed by John DuPont for the movie. The movie was Foxcatchers, and it was just so fascinating seeing these people first of all, but hearing what they had to say about their own experiences and how they felt the movies portrayed their lives. Some thought they were spot on, and one of them said, it wasn't really that accurate, but there was a part where I think it was Mark Schultz who said, but when it came to the killing of his brother, seeing that on screen was just so moving to him. And so not only was it a great panel and so interesting, but I happened to go to see Earthquake at poolside to see I was really there to see Richard Roundtree. But anyway, I just happened to be
Hello.
sitting right near Tony Mendez. And at first, it was just enough for me to just sit there and look at him and say, "Oh, that's him right there." And then I had another sip of my gin gimlet, and I got up and went and shook his hand and was like, "Thank you for your service." And it was just really great. So it kind of put the little cherry on top of that whole experience with the Club
Wow. I'm
TCM.
sorry I missed that panel. Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, it was really good. And I was at the one with Gone with the Wind and Sophia Loren Aurora, and both of those stand out for me.
Yeah.
They both were really great. And I was in the balcony for Sophia Loren, but it didn't matter. It's like I'm in the same room as
Yeah.
Sophia Loren. She's right there.
Yeah.
That was
I
at the top
think,
of my mind.
yeah.
That
It
happened
was.
tells you how many experiences we've had, Aurora. What we
Yeah,
would.
I almost want to say, and I mean, I don't know if other people are going to agree or not, but it almost feels like she is the biggest star ever that I've been in the same room with, even though it was a huge,
I agree.
a huge
Yeah.
place. But I remember what was the movie she introduced? Ben Mankiewicz interviewed her to introduce, was it Marriage Italian Style or
Yeah.
one
Hmm.
of, okay. And I remember the only time I've seen Ben quite nervous. He was a little verklempt, interviewing Sophia Loren. Not that I blame him, but I remember her walking across that stage and looking regal, and just everything you imagine about Sophia Loren was there in front of you. That was just something else. It really was.
Yeah. Just the little heel, the white suit, the
Yeah.
cadence of her voice, just the glowing skin. Oh my gosh.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Karen, do you remember? I think it was a French film noir. You were sitting next to James Karen,
Oh my goodness.
and then Norm. Oh my gosh, why am I spacing on his name? You know what I'm
Norman
talking about.
Lloyd. He was right
Well,
behind
behind
us.
me.
Yes. Yeah, I was so delighted to have been able to sit next to James Karen because first of all, his last name is Karen
Yeah.
and my first
Yeah.
boyfriend's name was James. So I've always had this thing about him. But he was so sweet and he took several pictures with me and he was just the most adorable man and I was just so happy to see him every year, and then the first year when he wasn't there, it's like, oh, James Cameron's
Yeah.
not here. But I just, I treasured that picture and I treasured that interaction because it was priceless and such a random thing that things like that usually don't happen to me. I'm always hearing about people running into people and oh, I was on the elevator with the,
That's
Oh, I
but
do
Aurora.
have an
it's never me.
I do have an elevator story at the river. But I
Yeah.
wanted to add about James Caron that he would go to every Club TCM event, regardless of whether it was a panel or some kind of celebration. And he loved fans going up to him. And I walked in, I think it was, I want to say one of the Hollywood Home Movies presentations. And I walked in late and it was standing room only. And I'm standing on the side where he happens to be sitting in one of those little round tables. And they showed a picture of Joan Blondell, and he grabs my hand, like I'm leaning on the thing. He grabs my hand and goes, I can tell you stories about her. So I let the thing finish and I go, tell me. He
Tell
goes,
me
no, I can't tell you
stories.
here. I can't tell you now, but just lovely, lovely man. I wanted
Mm.
to add about that. He's just lovely.
I remember that I heard Norman Lloyd behind me. I didn't say anything. I knew there was an actor behind me before I knew it was him because it was this voice and talking. And then somebody said, hello, Mr. Lloyd, I'm going to be interviewing to you tomorrow. And I just wanted to say hello. And I was like,
Yeah. Exactly.
and then he shouted, hey, James Karen, I just wanted to say hello. And I'm just like, James Karen is there.
Yeah.
I'm like, James Karen is next to Karen? what? Like, what is going on here? And then somebody announced Norman Lloyd there. I guess the lady still hadn't figured it out, and she's like, "What?" Oh my gosh, so many experiences. I can't believe this has gone really fast, you two.
Yeah. I mean,
But
we can probably go on forever. It's a lot of
yeah,
moments. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, we could have a
Can I just say
follow-up.
one more thing?
Yeah, well, yeah, tell me everything. We can go
Well,
long.
oh, if I tell you everything,
Yeah.
but I just remember my daughter and I were in line at Grauman's for all of me because we wanted to see Lily Tomlin. And they announced while we were standing there that she wasn't going to appear. And so we immediately got out of line because I really didn't care anything about seeing the movie. I just wanted to see her. And we went over to the multiplex and got in line for Queen Bee. And that's when I first saw you that year, Casey, in line for Queen Bee. And first
Right.
of all, it was just great that you were there because I hadn't seen you yet.
It was my
But
first movie of the festival. I came late.
yeah, because you were late getting there that year.
Hmm.
But the screening, I mean, I love Joan Crawford. She's my second favorite actress. She can do no wrong. And I love Queen Bee. But seeing it with an audience was next level. It was like there are certain movies that I just remember the audience participation and just the fact of being with an audience just made it so, so, so much better. And it was, so much appreciation for the movie and the campiness of it and the
Yeah.
badassery of Joan Crawford. It was just so great. And it was one of those happy accidents because if Lily Tomlin had been there, I never would have gotten that experience. And it was another priceless experience. And that I just loved it so much. And
Yeah.
then seeing you was, another cherry
It
on the
was
Sunday.
so much more special that year because I didn't know if I was going to make it. And then I realized I just had to. It was the year of Cooley High and getting to see Jane Seymour. But I really, really had to see that movie and made sure that I made it to
Yeah.
that movie. I still had my bag with me. I hadn't even gone to the hotel. So yeah, it was the same. It was this movie I loved that just became so much better because of that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. I was at that Queen Bee, and in fact, I love Joan as well, and that was my first time seeing Queen Bee. So it was really, really great to
Oh,
see it. I had heard about it. I don't know why I had never seen it, but one of my favorite types of experiences at the festival is to see movies that I've never seen
Yeah,
because you just I'm never going to get to see them again in the same kind of scenario, you know?
that's right.
So if you don't mind, I've told this story to really any classic movie fan I've ever met in my life. So maybe you've already heard it, but it's one of my favorite little accidents. I think it was at my first festival. I was in the elevator at the Roosevelt, going down to the lobby. When the elevator doors open, there's Mitzi Gaynor. And she's doesn't have her makeup on. She had just, in fact, arrived because she had her bag with her and a tall gentleman behind her. So, of course, the doors open. I say something brilliant. I said, "Hey, you're Mitzi Gaynor." And to which she replied, "Not yet,"
Ah,
which I thought was so fantastic, welcoming me to my first festival. So that's one of my favorite memories still.
that's a great
oh my
story.
gosh. It's so great to hear now
Yeah,
that
yeah,
because she was with us online up until the end.
yeah,
Like we know that wit.
yeah. She was a hoot, an absolute hoot, talented and beautiful and a
Wonderful
boss for
dancer.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had wanted to see Bob Newhart before a screening and his best friend Don Rickles passed, so he wasn't going to come. And I felt so awful for him. And I really didn't care that I wasn't going to see him. I just felt bad because I thought, oh, your best friend that long. But I went to see, it was Peter Bogdanovich. I think it's What's Up, Doc. Yeah, it was that because it was so funny in the theater to see that. And actually, that was my chance to see him before he passed. So it was another happy accident. And I happened to really love hearing his Cary Grant impersonation
Yes.
in person.
There was also a great, great Peter Bogdanovich interview in Club TCM that I saw. He had some such fascinating behind the scenes Hollywood stories. He was just great, almost like a little bridge between old Hollywood and new.
Yeah.
So his stories were fascinating. He was a great director. So, I was happy to have seen him also.
He genuinely loved all of those old time
Yes,
people. He wasn't, trying to get material from them or anything like
right.
that. If he had them in a film, he loved them. I really love that about him. Okay, Can we come up with closing thoughts? I don't know. There's just so much. There's so much. But how do we wrap up the festival experience?
Well, I just know that the year before I first went, I was on Twitter, and because I didn't know about the festival from the beginning. I feel like I only was aware of it starting in 2012, but that, I'm not sure about that. But I do remember very well seeing people on Twitter who were at the festival talking about it, and it was just eating me up. And I think it was Laura Grieve had seen Peggy Cummins, and when I saw that, I was like, I'm going next year. And I put it on Twitter and I said, I am going next year no matter what. I'm claiming it. And I did. And I feel like now I will never not go unless I literally can't walk anymore or something, because I can't imagine the idea of one, not going, but two, seeing that other people were there, because I would just have to stay off of Twitter and Facebook and everything for like a month. But it's the highlight of my year. It's what I live for, and it's just, I mean, it's so much. It's the movies, it's the guests, and then it's all of the friends that I have made. It's just so amazing that I have met all these people and become friends with all these people that I never would have met otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's just such a remarkable experience. And I just love everything about it. I never, have anything to complain about. It's just perfect. I mean, from the guys on Hollywood Boulevard trying to make you take their CD, and the people dressed up like superheroes, to seeing people like Sophia Loren and Shirley MacLaine, and meeting Rita Moreno and Rob Reiner. I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's just the best. It's the best thing ever, and I hope it just goes on forever.
Yeah, I don't know how you summed it up, but you really did. You
Yeah,
really
I don't know
fully
that
did.
I don't know that I have anything to add except to say that there's that really the festival experience, it's everything Karen said, plus the fact that it's personal. You make your own sort of
Mhm.
memories because by the choices you make, but there's no way you're not going to have a good time at this thing, and the fact that you do get to spend the 4 days or 3 days with like-minded classic movie fans is so special, for people like me who don't have classic movie fans in your life every day. But yes, everything Karen said is absolutely correct. So,
Yeah, it's just a one of a kind festival. It's not really like anything else for what it
Right.
has to offer. Yeah. And I mean, I just have to say, I feel so lucky to know people like you too, who just, it's good people too. People that you just enjoy their company. Every time you see you, you're like, hello, gorgeous, but just to have this bond is this thing that we love, that people around us in our daily lives don't love, is just really so special. And I'm so glad you could come on to talk to me, both of you, and that we could go over these wonderful experiences together. Thank you so much.
thank
It's been a
you.
delight. Thank
It's
you,
it's
Casey.
been it's been great fun. Thank you so much.
To learn more about Aurora and Karen, and for a link to the full Maureen O'Hara interview we discussed, go to watchingclassicmovies.com. If you're enjoying the show, please comment and review wherever you subscribe. Thank you for listening. This is Kendall Groover, watching classic movies. Until next time.